It seems to me, first of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
And when it comes to establishing your worldview, I was curious, what newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the world?
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
But like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that have...
Can demonic spirits attach themselves to inanimate objects? The answer is yes.
Welcome to Twat Waffle of the Week.
So, welcome back to the second installment of last week's episode. A few stories to fill out the week. Radical American First candidate Shekinah Hollingsworth, and I apologize if I butchered her first name, got a whopping 8.16% of the vote, about 549. This was in a primary election. She fucking lost to her own party. But, like a good Trumpian, she's going to challenge it. Trump set the standard for this. Now, all Republicans are going to basically do what he did, or tried to do.
So there's definitely meddling in these elections going on. And I think the establishment knows, the establishment Democrats and Republicans know how dangerous of a candidate I would be had I been fairly elected to the House of Delegates. Because this campaign has shaken up so many things over the past year. We've activated so many young people, young America Firsters. I was talking to some college students yesterday who drove up from their colleges to come and vote for me in this election. I know for a fact that the energy on the ground was there for me, and these numbers do not reflect that, and we're going to be investigating that and looking into that and not letting up that we deserve free and fair elections.
So, I think I now know why I have seen so many memes concerning the ozone layer. Whether Junior Barton, and by Junior Barton I mean his son Tim, who's in just as much as a dirtbag as his daddy, is the cause, I don't know that for a fact. Although, I'm assuming that. Basically, one meme I saw that has summed the situation up well. Basically, it goes like this, quote, "Remember when they spent years telling us to panic over the hole in the ozone layer, and then suddenly just stopped talking about it? And nobody ever mentioned the ozone layer?" A respondent replied, quote, "What happened is scientists discovered chlorofluorocarbons were bad for the ozone. Countries believed them. The Montreal Protocol was signed, and CFCs fell by 99.7% usage, leading to the stabilization of the ozone layer. Perhaps the greatest example of global cooperation in history," end quote. And that meme really sums up Barton's argument. And what he states, if you really listen to it, is so asinine. I mean, it's, as the meme said, warnings about acid rain and a hole in the ozone layer, and climate change, hoax and narrative. I really don't have any words. The utter stupidity of this.
There are cycles of nature, but one of the things the Bible tells us is as long as the earth remains, then seasons will also remain. That there will be the spring, there will be the summer, there will be the fall, the harvest, there will be the winter. Seasons are a real thing. And yet, if we want to be practical and objective about this, I remember several decades ago when we were told the most dangerous, scary things there were the holes in the ozone, and there could be acid rain. I haven't heard anybody mention a hole in an ozone or acid rain literally in decades. Did those things disappear, or were they never the problem they were pretended to be? And this is where we are with a lot of the climate change hoax and narrative.
To borrow a comment from Wildwood Claire, quote, Timmy makes the false assumption that if a notoriously short attention span media is not talking about a problem, it must not exist. Nor has it occurred to him that the problems he mentioned were to some degree successfully addressed. End quote.
My name's Mary Turner, and I'm here today to talk to you about your school handbook. We've got 3 children in the public schools. They range from 13 down to 6. Now, I'm also a longtime member of the Satanic Temple. I raise my children according to the 7 tenets of Satanism, and while children of other faiths can wear clothing that declare their family's religion, my family's faith is specifically called out and banned in the school handbook dress code. Your own non-discrimination policy states that you do not discriminate against students based on religion. Your own mission says every student in every classroom every day. The Satanic Temple has been a federally recognized church for many years now. Banning Satanic students from wearing clothing that declares their faith while allowing students of all other faiths to wear similar clothing is an act of discrimination. So I'm here to ask that the school board remove Satanism from their dress code policy and that they no longer blacklist my family's faith and the faith of other families here in Hayes as distracting, unsafe, or offensive.
You know, about 40 years ago, there were a whole lot of people who were very concerned with a particular kind of thing that people were claiming to have happen all over the country. It wasn't really, and but it made it into documents like this, and it's probably just a holdover. But it is interesting that, you know, on the previous page, we have a non-discrimination statement. We have it up on our wall that we value diversity and we value inclusion. Sure. And then we specifically say the name of one religion in the no list. Sure. And I would challenge someone to put their own religion in that space and see how it feels.
This story is really important. And as odd as this is gonna sound, it's not for the most obvious of reasons. Ahmed Mehta sums it up well.
Later in the meeting, the board discussed the issue and it became clear some of the members just hadn't considered the implications of that statement. Another board member suggested a simpler statement. The focus on disruptive clothing rather than listing out specific examples. The end result of their discussion? The board agreed to have the administration rework the dress code. A modified version will be discussed at an upcoming retreat in 2 weeks, just before the start of the new school year. Which means a Satanist spoke out against religious discrimination that almost certainly existed due to pro-Christian bias. Then within a matter of hours, the change she sought was put into action.
Pretty wild if you ask me. Elizabeth Janai Lancaster, who is running for a spot on the Santa Rosa County School Board in Florida, argued in a public meeting that doctors who provide care for transgender children should be hanging from the nearest tree. Wonderful. Another political wannabe with a malformed opinion.
Hello. My name is Elizabeth Janai Lancaster, and I am running for Santa Rosa County School Board District 3. I am a mother, a grandmother of 3, and very excited to have a 4th grandchild on the way. I retired after 28 years as a Federal Reserve law enforcement officer, protection services. I was an operations supervisor at the time I retired. Our division provided dignitary escorts and protection. We conducted treasury operations and research and investigations. I have an associate's degree in criminal justice and received my law enforcement certification through the state of Colorado. I am a conservative and hold Christian values and beliefs. I would love to see the prayer reinstated instead of the moment of silence. Our country was founded on Judeo-Christian values and beliefs that I believe should be respected and encouraged. The welfare and protection of the students is my first and foremost priority. That is one of the main reasons I decided to run. I am in favor of the Guardian program and against any social engineering projects, especially CRT or any ideologies that do not belong in the school platform. The children should not be burdened with the woke agenda that is leaving a path of destruction everywhere it goes. Just to mention what has recently surfaced, the pharmaceutical companies are paying $1.3 million for each gender reassignment. I don't know about you, but I am wondering how they are getting in contact with these children. These doctors that are going along with mutilating these children and prescribing hormone blockers to these kids, in my opinion, they should be hanging from the nearest tree. Follow the money. Follow the money and you can see where these agendas are heading. Another main reason why...
Just for shits and giggles, Alexandra Caraballo, who this video clip is from, has a really interesting thread following this posting. If you're interested, take a gander over to her Twitter and take a look. Link will be in the show notes. Now, one question I do have for Miss Lancaster: exactly where in the Bible is the hanging of doctors promoted? And exactly which sect of Christianity promotes such action? Mind-boggling. So that will do it for the week. I did have more stories of interest, but couldn't turn them into magic. I felt I would just be droning on about the news, and y'all get enough of that. So I bid you peace. Until next week, take care.